Welcome to the show. I'd like to welcome Tony and Tom. We're celebrating 25 years of Pudge. Can you guys tell me a little bit about why we're doing this show, or what the whole thing is? What brought us to doing this show today?
So we can hang out for a little while.
Now, what I'm getting at more is that originally we were supposed to do a show.
Yes.
On the 23rd, right?
Yep. So that got canceled, obviously, because of COVID. So when we scheduled that show, we scheduled it a year in advance, which a lot of people thought was a little strange. And we actually had some people show up a whole year ahead of time because they thought that it was that year, 2020 instead of 2021. But we didn't anticipate the pandemic, so the show obviously is canceled for obvious reasons.
And that show is supposed to be... It was scheduled originally to take place on the 25th anniversary to the day of our first performance under the name Pudge, right?
Yes.
And technically we were playing before that.
Quite a while before that.
And how did the name Pudge come about?
So, when we used to... I don't know, this is a weird interview. Do you feel weird?
I feel weird.
Yeah. I see you're just looking at your stocks there.
I was.
Yeah. So, did you have GameStop?
No.
Oh. So, when we used to practice, I'd say maybe 60% of our practices used to end in fights. Pretty nasty fights, actually. And then while we were calling each other names, we'd put sheets over the drum kit and bags over the amps, and so our stuff would stay nice and clean. But anyway, so we were upstairs after one practice arguing, and Tom and I were calling each other names, and I think I called him Pudgy. And
I think it was a little more colorful than that.
yeah, it was. We were in the kitchen by the island in Stockbridge. And I said Pudgy, and then he looked at me, and I was looking at him, and then we were both kind of grinning a little bit. So then we thought, Pudge, maybe that'd be a good name for the band. But we couldn't really decide on it, or agree on it, I guess I should say. So then we had this show at Funlovin that we got invited to play, which prior to that we had just played garages and basements and I guess our high school up to that point, maybe some other odd places, parking lots. But so we got invited to play this show in Appleton, which was a big deal. We're really worried about it. And we didn't really have a name when we were scheduled to play it, so we were setting up. And I remember Tom was setting up his drum kit, and Mark, the drummer for a band called Mr. Dunbar, who was playing that day, walked up to him and said, "What's your band name?" And then Tom immediately said Pudge, without asking us. And so then from that moment on, we were Pudge. Did that answer your question, Andy?
Yeah, so how individually, like, I know I was pretty nervous because before that, this was our first show in Appleton, which, of course, prior to that, we played shows in Stockbridge at the high school and stuff like that. I myself was pretty nervous. What about you guys?
It's hard to remember back that far, Andy. I think I was nervous. We thought we were going to be horrible just because the person who invited us to play the show, his name was Riley Banks. He was in a band that was playing that night as well, called Slush at the time. I think that was their name at the time. And we had him come over to watch our practice, our set list that we had ready to go for the show because we were so nervous. We wanted to get his seal of approval and make sure that we weren't going to suck too bad. So he said, "Don't worry, I've seen bands play there that aren't very good." And we said, "Well, how do you rate them?" He said, like 1 to 10. Or he's like, "Oh, 6. So then we went through our set, which was, I don't know, maybe 25 minutes or something like that. And then once we got done, he's like, "Oh, it's pretty good." We're like, "Well, how would you rate us, 1 to 10? And he's like, 6. And we didn't say anything at the time. We're like, "What?" So we were a little nervous. I watched some video from that show not too long ago, and it's amazing to me how many cover songs we played that night.
Well, we were pretty nervous, and the funny thing is, like, we were one of those bands that sort of used for something at the time, because if you guys remember, I've been kind of replaying that show back in my head recently.
Oh, PA.
We were asked about lights in PA. I think originally it was the PA, then was, "Oh, you guys have some lights?"
Yeah.
So we brought the lights. We brought a big rug for the front.
Yep.
We brought the PA, and then and then we played like at 7:30. Like we're gonna have these guys start, and they're gonna be the sound check, more or less, right? Is kind of how I remember. But to us, it was kind of like the big springboard,
Yep.
or a big a kind of foot into that, and we met a lot of people that night that we still know.
So we I know you and I we saw Guttermouth and the Grabbers and Face to Face play. I can't remember if it was that year, earlier the year before, but the singer for Guttermouth was throwing out pixie sticks. So I remember we're trying to come up with things we could do to get people sort of engaged. So we bought a bag of licorice and a bag of, do you remember those things? They're like gumballs. Yeah. They look like eyes, but they're gumballs. They're all individually wrapped, I believe, not the Twizzlers. So when we're playing, we're throwing this candy out. So, okay, here we go. We play Rape Me by Nirvana, and we have a little break, and we throw Twizzlers out to people, and then we kind of talk and putz around, and then play a different song, throw some candy out. But like you said, though, that's a good springboard because it sort of allowed us to start to build up confidence a little bit. And then we started playing at Fun Lovin' like every 2 months, sometimes twice a month. We were playing there a lot. I wish I knew the exact number, but to think about that, even that time, I mean, Tom, you were 15.
Yeah.
Andy and I were 17. So I mean, that was a long time ago. And then during that show, we only played, I think, 3 original songs, and then a bunch of covers. Well, actually, I shouldn't. 3 originals that were ours, and then 2 cover songs from other local like friend bands of ours. So we played one song called "Death," which is what we started, which was a song from a band called Korn, before Korn with a K, which ended up being Turtlehead. And then we played a song called "Pig," which is from Kevin Brown's band.
Good tunes.
Yeah, Vomit, band name Vomit. But that kind of got us. It kind of spurred us a little bit with working on our own stuff a little more, because we recorded at Smart Studios, I think 3 or 4 months after that. But yeah, it was a long time ago.
And Tom, did you stay at that first show until the very end of the night, or did you leave early? Do you remember?
Joke. I don't remember, but I'm sure I left early.
No, I think you may have stuck around.
Because I left.
Actually,
you did?
Yeah, I left right after, like, the band after us was like half done, I think.
I would almost be willing to bet I left just for the fact that
Well, your
I was
bedtime
young.
was like 8:30.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And you probably wanted to catch Charles in Charge or
Charles in Charge.
one of those shows. I don't know. I don't think we left early.
Well,
Who was the headliner that night? Slush?
yeah. So a lot of the footage we have is from Tony, because Tony had the camcorder after I left. And I think Chris McCoy filmed our show that night, and then you had the camcorder, and Tony was upstairs riding the high from our 7:30 debut at Fun Lovin'. So he was kind of getting in people's faces, recording them like drinking tea, and recording people paying the charge, the $4 or whatever to get in, and that video is pretty gold. But yeah, that's how I know you were there till the end. And then I think the battery ended up wearing out on the camcorder. And of course, then after the show, you go around, and I'll remind you guys of this too. Do you remember we had some people there to see us? There's people that we knew to see the other bands, and for our set, everybody was sitting down on the floor. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember. I remember somebody, may have been Riley, was yelling, "Stand up! It's disrespectful to sit down." We may have even asked them to sit down. I don't remember. I don't think.
Yeah, so I mean, we're like throwing candy at people that are sitting down on the floor in front of us.
I remember I had "We Suck" written on my left hand in permanent marker, just because I wanted to beat anybody to the punch. I think we may have also had signs that said, "If you don't like it, you can leave," that we brought along with us. I don't know what we were planning on doing with that, but
I think we might have been hedging a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. You know, it's weird to think back that long ago, but I think at that point in 1996, I think we already felt like we were sort of, the music we were playing wasn't really relevant. I think even at that point, we were already feeling like there was something else happening, and we were like not current, I guess.
Well, Tom was 15. He was already past his prime.
You were wearing your Reaper shirt that day, weren't you?
I don't remember.
I think you were.
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the show, somebody got up. Like we had a song that didn't have lyrics, and so
it still doesn't. We're not done with it yet.
So our plan was to have somebody.
Doesn't even remember it.
The plan was to have somebody come up and just make up stuff, and we met a guy early on that said he would come up and do it, and that turned into a mess, didn't it?
Unless he's listening right now, which I doubt it. In that case, it was pretty good. He actually wasn't that bad. He just yelled a lot.
Yeah.
What did we expect? He wasn't going to start crooning.
Well, and I think we picked the wrong person too, because he was obviously into like hardcore punk music. We had a guy that was in a band called the Butt Ugly Bastards, got up there and was dancing around. It was
Funny.
it was interesting.
Oh.
But yeah, that was I don't even know how long the set was, probably like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah. Like I said, I watched it not too long ago on YouTube. And I was surprised, A, how short it was, B, how many covers we played, and just, I don't know, C, I don't know, I didn't think we were horrible.
We had 2 songs solid at the point, or almost solid, and then we had a bunch of other like songs that never moved anywhere. One of the first songs that is still around that you two wrote together was "I Want Out." Can you tell me how that song got started?
I don't remember.
Well, I can tell you, the first time I heard it, I was up in my bedroom because we all lived together.
You know, it's kind of funny because I think when you're in a band, and don't get me wrong, local musicians are the most self-absorbed people on the planet. But you hope that other people will say the first time I heard it, that the people in the band reflect. The first time I heard that song, I remember exactly where I was.
Yeah, I was up in my room. And I heard it coming up through the vents, and you were playing that intro bass line, and Tom had a cool little hi-hat pattern going. Do you remember anything about that, Tom? No?
No, not really.
I think I was just ding, ding, ding. I think we're just doing that, and then just kind of came about the I Want Out, or the not I Want Out. I Want Out. I kind of lifted that line from a Foo Fighters song called Easy Target, I think. Whereas, I want out, I'm alone, and I'm an easy target. I'm like, ooh, I want out. I like that. Took that, and then just kind of, as far as the music, though, we were probably just putzing around. Tom and I were in a band together before Andy even joined. We created a couple songs for a school project Andy was working on, which he rejected and did not use. But remember those?
Oh, yeah.
You can probably go rip them out right now if we wanted to. But yeah, it was a good song.
Yeah, it is.
Then the other one was like prog rock, kind of almost. A lot of like scales and jumping around, crazy stuff.
Yeah, it was
Good stuff, though.
Yeah, it was
What
good.
were you?
If a good band would have recorded that, it may have been a hit.
I agree.
So what were you guys listening to around 1996? Tom, we'll start with you. Do you remember?
Primus.
Pudge.
Primus?
Primus, yeah, that was good.
Do you still listen to Primus?
I do, as a matter of fact.
So you
No, you don't.
I do too.
No, you don't.
Yeah, old stuff, old Primus. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the new Les Claypool stuff, but not a huge fan. I mean, hit and miss.
What were you listening to, Tony?
1996?
Yeah.
I don't know. 9 Inch Nails.
Good
Pearl
stuff.
Jam. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really remember. Grunge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening.
Beatles.
And, I think we all had like a variety of stuff. Listening to Nirvana, Beatles. I listened to Natalie Merchant quite a bit at the time.
Good one.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
So Andy,
Yes.
so what's your favorite show that Pudge ever played?
Huh. Favorite show? That kind of caught me off guard. Oh, Tom's guessing. I'm going to have to say it was the one from a couple years ago when we opened up for Puddle of Mud. That's probably the one. I thought that one was fun because it felt like a kind of a stressful show. I think the stressful ones are always the most fun, or the most build up. Yeah, I think in the end, if they go okay. But, and that's not including like a 30-minute music hour and Rock Garden Live. Those obviously were awesome, and you can look back and watch them. But I think like before the Puddle of Mud show, we met up in the hallway, and you, Phil, and Sam and I are like, hey, let's go do this. And then you walk out on the stage and the lights are off and they come on. And, it was just, that's probably my favorite.
How about you, Thomas?
I don't know. I liked that 30-minute music hour. I thought that was fun. It was different.
It was stressful too.
Yeah, it was stressful, but it was, I don't know, it was put together. So it was, a lot of the stress from most of our shows came from the chaos of not knowing what was going on, or so and so not showing up, or this band wants to play first instead of last now, all that kind of stuff that made it weird. So the music hour thing was kind of nice, having a structured, timed out, real well put together thing.
I liked the one in Stockbridge at the, I don't remember where it was. The Harbor Bar. I think just because I think we were brought in to sort of just take up time, and I felt like we over delivered that night, which was a satisfying feeling. I think that was I always liked the shows where I think we were brought in as the throwaway band, and then we ended up like kicking it up way higher than people anticipated. So that one stands out in my mind as one of those shows where I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I can think of some. Oh, and our first show at Mile of Music was up there as well.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
I mean, from being a band where we fought for years to play that, and then finally got the nod, and it's like, okay, we're finally here, and had somebody we knew doing sound, and the place was packed, and that was a good one too. So Andy, so I guess we should cover briefly our dark period. So we started out as a grunge band, kind of, I guess, lack of a better word. But then somewhere along the way, maybe 1997, we started to have an identity crisis, and maybe 98, it started to almost morph into somewhat of a disco rock band we thought we would try to be, but it didn't work out well. Now Andy's actually wearing his outfit from that period, which I'm surprised he still has it. He had my jacket I used to wear too. Tom used to have this maroon corduroy jacket, so we'd wear these jackets and I don't know, crazy shirts. Drag the disco ball around. I just took mine off because it was too warm, but now I'm too cold. But anyway, so Andy's wearing his today, the shirt and jacket.
A little short, but
yeah. But so that was kind of a weird period. We had a bunch of songs that we don't play anymore. And that was during our 3-hour long, I don't know, show period, I guess. So anyway, then we got out of that and became a rock band again.
Do you guys have a favorite Pudge song that you like listening to?
Let's hear yours first.
I think I like Turn and Walk Away. I've heard it a million times, obviously, but that's probably my favorite.
I've played it 100 times.
I like Open Cuts.
Really?
Yeah.
The song?
Yeah.
Huh, weird. I don't know what mine would be. I like Turn and Walk Away. I don't know. I like a lot of them for different reasons.
Let's go to a question.
So I have a couple questions for the 25 years of Pudge show. First one is an icebreaker, if you're brave enough to answer it. If you could shoot liquid out of any of your finger guns, what would it be and why? So each pointer finger can have its own liquid. And then I would also like to know your all-time favorite memory from any of the 25 years of Pudge, and then will Pudge ever play again, assuming we go back to normal life with live concerts? So thank you very much. I hope at least one of these questions make the show, and hopefully I see you again soon. Okay, bye.
Well, thank you for the questions. I guess we'll start with Tom. What liquid would you shoot out of your fingers?
Well, I think that's pretty obvious. It would be beer and water. Assuming I could shoot a different liquid out of each pointer finger gun.
Coogan water?
Kangen.
Yes,
as a matter of fact.
Congo water.
Oh.
I would shoot liquid platinum out of mine.
Whatever, Tony. I knew you'd say so.
Maybe gold. Something that I could sell. So while you're over there drinking finger beer, I'd be making money.
Can I change mine?
No.
I would shoot liquid Bitcoin out of my fingers. I think we already answered the favorite Pudge song thing, but if you guys think of any other liquids to shoot out of your fingers, I'm all ears. Tony, what did you say again? I can't remember your answer already.
About my finger gun?
Yeah.
Platinum.
We've got another message, so let's get back to the phones here.
Joke, but
I know, I was going to say, Tony's about to say something
Hi,
funny.
this is Lisa from way up north in God's country. I have a question for Pudge. Now that the three of you have absolutely stunningly beautiful wives and children, how has your music changed over the years? And I know from interpretation that what you guys kind of played, grunge, in my day we called that acid rock. I'll wait to hear your answers.
I think.
Well, in my opinion, I don't think any of our marriages or kids changed anything with our music. Mine, anyway. I mean,
yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, yeah, I guess I third that. I mean, we were never really. Well, I wrote a ballad.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, okay, I guess it did. Okay, it did change it a little bit. Historically, so Tony and I kind of write differently. Tony, well, maybe not. I mean, we had angry songs and we had happy songs, I guess. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, I guess it kind of did, but it kind of didn't.
It makes sense if you don't think about it.
I mean, we practice a lot less.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Practice a lot less. Yeah.
So.
A good question, though. I mean, it's kind of hard. Your mind starts thinking of other things and it kind of ends up in a loop.
Yeah.
Weird.
I mean, I think this time makes you write songs differently too.
How do you normally go about writing songs, Tony?
I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know how that's different from now and back then either. I don't know. I don't really know. So I was thinking back to that Fun Lovin' show again. So remember that Subway right next door?
Yeah.
And I remember, so if everybody knows this already, but you and I have the same parents.
Fact.
Yeah. And so before shows, and I think even that first Fun Lovin' show, Mom would always make spaghetti for us. I'm not sure why. It was always spaghetti with a ton of cheese, because I would always put some noodles, layer of cheese, noodles, layer of cheese, noodles, layer of cheese, and then sauce on top. I let it melt and I just shove it in my face. But anyway, so eating all that spaghetti, then going to a show, you'd have to go to the bathroom. Fun Lovin' had, well, it was a pretty bad bathroom. 2 of them actually. But so you wouldn't want to go there, and half the time the toilets were plugged up anyway. So they had 2 downstairs and then 1 upstairs. And then they had a Subway next door, which is something else now. But I remember going over there to go to the bathroom 3 or 4 times before every show. And sometimes they wouldn't have toilet paper.
Oh,
And I remember using a sock one time.
Oh, Tony.
And then I think I used a flannel shirt once. And just threw it in the garbage there. It's an unrelated story.
I like that story, actually. It's one of my favorite Tony pre-show bathroom ritual stories, I believe, because he had a flannel shirt on and then he didn't. I was where did it go? And then this story later, came out. We do have another question, you guys. Let's see what we got. This is from a band member from a singer for a band called The Independent Variable.
Hi, this is listener Fred from Green Bay, Wisconsin. You guys have played a lot of shows over 25 years. I'm wondering what the biggest train wreck or disaster of a show that you played was, a certain incident, the PA blowing up, or anything along those lines. Thanks, and congrats on 25 years.
Thanks, Fred.
We could probably spend some time talking about these. I mean, I'll start. Well, actually, Tom, you start. No. And I'll start. So I can think of, talking about these 3-hour-long marathon shows. So we got invited to play up at Bear Lake at a resort campground one time. First time we played, we did pretty well. We played well. I think we got $300, which that's a lot more than the $30 we normally would get. So I remember driving the hours home. It was 3 in the morning. I'm driving home. I'm all happy we made this money. Anyway, so we went back to play like a year or two later after that. Oh, no, the first one.
What's the first one?
The first was when I snapped the bass string, right? But then we had to locate a bass, and then we ended up doing well, though. The second time sucked.
Yeah.
All sorts of reasons. But I remember hardly anybody was there, and the owner, manager, whoever kept telling us that Hindsight or some band like that was there the night before, and the place was packed, and it was just a bad show. What's yours?
Andy?
I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of them.
We've had a lot of shows where it's too loud. Like nothing sucks more than you go to play a show, and then the whole place clears out one song in.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's been a lot of them, and some train wrecks have been worse than others for different reasons. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't consider like some of the shows where it was loud, where you clear people out. I wouldn't consider that bad. It's a bad feeling, but
Makes you feel bad.
yeah. And to answer Fred's thing about like PAs going, we've had PAs go before
Amps go.
We're doing a show down in
Drum gear.
Oh yeah.
at
Bass drum
Maybash a few years ago, and Phil's head on his amp just stopped, like a tube burned out or some electronic.
It was like 100 degrees that day though.
Yeah, like my phone stopped working, like so it was too hot. I've never seen that before. Like it was just in my pocket. I was outside and it stopped working, and a big thing came up that said it was too hot. I couldn't do anything.
Maybe that's
on it.
because it's too close to your balls. Right?
It's a good one. Yeah, I don't know.
It's funny.
Yeah.
They balance out though. You get the good ones, and you kind of forget about the bad ones
You do?
sometimes. Yeah. Tom, anything?
Not really. I mean,
They're all home runs.
they're all home runs. I enjoyed just about every show we ever played. I mean, they all had their ups and downs, strikes and gutters. I mean, you can't expect them to be perfect. I mean, come on. That's what made us, nice to watch probably, was the fact that something was going to happen.
I want to say hi to Megan, who's listening. She's watching the Facebook live stream. Tony, she's making fun out of your juice box earlier.
Technically, it's not my juice box. It's your kid's juice box. I was just drinking it.
Well, hopefully you leave the box for him when he gets home.
Oh.
So let's talk about Smart Studios. So a few months after the show at Fun Lovin', we rolled into Smart Studios down in Madison to record a bunch of songs. How was that compared to the first show at Fun Lovin'? Do you feel the same nervousness? Because I think we were trying to we had 2 solid songs done. We were trying to write a third song, and we we're kind of going back and forth between a song called Stupid Mistake and a song we had recently started writing called Reasons, which was a song that we each wrote a part of. So it sounds like 3 different songs. There's like a lot of beats in the beginning. Tom wrote that part. Tony wrote the sappy middle part that he sings, and then I wrote the end part, the loud part. But we ended up going with that one. I don't remember why we decided to go with that over the other one. But can you tell me a little bit about your experience for being in a studio for the first time, and further being in a studio like that for your first recording experience?
I mean, it was fun. It was stressful, obviously, but fun.
We were pretty broke, I remember, and the engineer at one point.
We didn't have all that Pudge money we have now.
At one point, the engineer was talking about ordering food or something. We ended up getting a pizza, or I don't remember exactly what we did. We brought food to cook out because we stayed down there for 2 days. First day was recording. Second day was mostly, I think, just mixing.
Digging around for Nirvana stuff.
Yeah. So Nirvana recorded at the studio 1990, and we were just kind of walking around, taking all that in. I was a huge Garbage fan. I think you were at the time, Tony. But a question for you, Tom. So being a drummer, well, typically the drums are recorded. They're done first. You
Are you teaching them, or were you asking them?
Well, even when you record live, typically you get the drums down pat and then you worry about the other stuff after. Being a drummer, did you enjoy being done first, or would you prefer to like stay engaged through the whole process?
I mean, it was nice getting done just for the fact that it was stressful, but it would have been, in my opinion, nicer if I was playing along to you guys, like your actual tracks, rather than some soft playing in the background that I can barely hear. That's not really technically on beat, I think if you guys played to a click track or something, and then I played over the top of you guys, it would be more fun for me or easier for me. But I definitely like getting my stuff done with and then watching you guys struggle to keep time with me.
Oh, we walked out of there with a cassette tape with 3 songs on it, so that was good. We had product. So buy little 15-minute tapes at Radio Shack and dub them.
Didn't we record all at the same time? That's smart.
Yep.
Yeah, see, I like that.
We did, yeah, and then that's what I meant. And then like we went, I think Tony patched in a couple notes. I patched in some stuff and double tracked.
Because I liked it. I liked
stuff.
recording like that rather than me recording all the drums first. I liked playing it together in the separate rooms or whatever. That was cool. A better studio than a cheaper studio.
Yeah. That was a long time ago.
Do you have any questions for me, you guys?
I feel like there should be some. What's your most hated Pudge song?
Ooh, good one.
That is a good one.
Mr. Handers.
No.
Oh, wait, that's mine.
Yeah, mine too.
I'd have to say it's probably Need a Lover. It goes. I didn't mind that song until Aaron Smash from IDFK declared it his most hated Pudge song, and then I started not liking it. And I don't know if it was because of that. But I mean, there's really not a Pudge song that I would refuse to play. Like I don't mind all of them for one reason or another, because somebody probably likes it.
Stiffy.
Maybe. Yeah, we wrote.
Don't even.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
You know what happens if you end up with a bunch of Pudge merch you can't get rid of?
What?
Take it all away.
Good one.
Thanks. So I had another question that totally made it slip out of my mind.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
People won't admit it, but you always kind of hope that you're going to write something awesome that everybody's going to love just as much as you do. And I think every time we put out like an album or something, it's always like, okay, this is going to be awesome. And you get all excited and you put it out and it's just kind of like silence. I mean, I will say I appreciate everybody that has come to one of our shows, bought our albums, reached out or tagged us on Facebook with something. I appreciate all of that because there's a ton of music out there now, and especially with social media. Like back in '96 when we started, there's still on the internet, but you go to shows, you meet people, you buy cassettes or CDs if they had them or whatever. And now it's like everybody's got tons of digital stuff. You can record at home really easy. There's just so much. It's like, I'm in a band. Okay, that's nice. Or like 40 other people I know, or so
40. Yeah. Well, that's the hard part too. I think getting older and married and kids and stuff, for me it hasn't really changed songwriting or anything. It's changed shows or just general interest because other people are doing the same thing, and music just kind of goes down the list of priorities at that point, which is hard when it's still high on your list of priorities, but everybody who used to keep it up high too, but suddenly it's not a big deal to them. So I don't know.
Wah, wah, wah.
No, I'm just saying it makes it hard because as you get older and you play shows, you're really not. People don't really just come out anymore.
I get it.
I still like playing shows like late. Obviously we haven't for a while, but I love playing shows, and then I don't mind getting home late, especially if it's a good show. Having kids, yeah, it's harder if they wake you up at 6 a.m. the next day. But I still like that feeling. makes you feel like you're doing something, you're putting something out there. I like meeting people. Like we had Fred called in from the Independent Variable. I love those guys. And that's another thing too, like just the social meeting other people that love playing music and writing music and being around music is I think part of this whole thing. And I'm thankful for it. Yeah. I don't even remember what the question was. We've got another question. Let's hit the phones.
Hi, I was just wondering a little bit more about what your favorite experience with recording was. And I was also wondering about how you designed some of your merch, like maybe some of the T-shirts and just different logos and that sort of thing. Thanks.
Well, I think we kind of answered the recording question. We talked about that. The merch stuff, I don't know. We're really bad at merch.
It's kind of been different.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, different people have designed different things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess we like our T-shirt designs. The first one was like a disco person, and I don't even know if that was like something that we put together or the T-shirt place put it together. We're pretty bad with just designing stuff, I think, or like marketing, I'd say. Would you agree with that, Tony?
Yeah. Sorry, I was daydreaming about work and some other stuff.
Like I think we were lately getting a little more into the T-shirt thing, like design or trying to come up with unique things. At Mala Music 7, we had like it was kind of a mock-up or similar to like a Mudhoney shirt with a distortion pedal on it. We had like our faces on it, and I remember, so there's three knobs: volume, tone, and something else. And I had the volume all the way to 10, and the last thing all the way to 10. I had tone on like 4 or 3. and Phil said, you should have the tone on 10 too. I said, well, that's kind of the funny thing, is because like my tone is bad. It was like, no, I think it looks better on 10. Phil's tone was always good. But I mean, the same thing with merch. Like I've always kind of been plug and play. Like I don't put too much time into pedals, and that's probably a fault on my part. Like as far as like the tone of stuff, I'll get a pedal and just plug it in. Maybe use it, maybe not. Maybe use it for a little bit and then stop. But, I'd like to get more into like tone, more into designing cool merchandise, stuff like that.
So you brought up Phil, so I think it's a good time to bring up Phil and Sam, who are obviously both big parts of Pudge as well.
Mm-hmm.
So in 25 years, we've had only 5 people in the band, which I think is pretty impressive.
It's almost like the Rolling Stones.
Kind of, yeah. So, obviously we all miss Phil. Phil was a huge part. He was in the band for a long, long time. And Tom sort of stepped down, but he kind of comes back every now and then when needed. What's your favorite non-Tom Pudge drum song?
And I'm horrible with names.
Mobile Stationary?
Yes, Mobile Stationary. Thank you. I knew it was a goofy name.
I always want to call it Fake It Till You Make It. See, we haven't played in so long, so I forget these song titles.
Yeah, that's a good one, though. I like that one a lot.
The show's almost over, so if you're going to get a question and you got to hurry. We had a 2-part question from DJ Bear, who hosts Amped Up. In your opinion, how's the Appleton Fox Cities music scene from then to now? Worse, same, or better? We'll just start with that one, and then we'll get to the other.
It's just different. I think more older people care about music, but I feel like fewer younger people do, which maybe is just because I'm older. But I don't know. I feel like back then, kids seemed like they cared more about bands, and now it seems like it's just really, I don't know.
See, I think it's almost better in my opinion, because you guys might remember being at Fun Lovin' 96, 97, 98.
Say better now or better then?
Better now. And then we're like sitting in there, and we would be mad because like all these people are going into like Park Central to go dancing, or like these cover bands in Appleton were like, why are you guys just wasting your time drinking? You'd be in here. But there wasn't really that many places that took local bands at the time, which was especially like all ages shows, which was a big deal with Fun Lovin'.
Yeah.
Now I think local music, original local music, is more accepted than it was.
But it's a lot of older people too that are in the bands as well. I don't see
That's
as many
true.
younger bands unless I just don't know where they are. Or they're not.
No, that's a valid point. That's true.
Like where do you see right now 16, 17-year-old rock bands? Like I can't think of any from here. I'm
I
sure
know
they
a couple
exist.
negative, positive.
Well, things had changed even with, ability to go into a bar and things like that too. 25 years ago, you could go into a bar with your parents and all that kind of stuff. I think that's changed now. You can't do that if you're underage. Stuff. Even from that standpoint, it's different.
The second part of the Bears question, do you have any unfinished songs from throughout the last 25 years that you may finish and or release? Thanks and congrats.
Well, we have that one from 1996 that we mentioned at the top of the show that we had the guy come up and make up lyrics for at that February 23rd, 1996 show. That's not done yet. We had a song called Pressed. Do you remember that one? Mm-hmm. It's slower. That'll probably never be done, even though I sort of thought about recording. It'd be kind of funny. We have a song called Stupid Mistake that we never really
That's a good one.
recorded well. Yeah, I like that one too. I came up with new lyrics for it.
Of course you did.
And then Andy and I just recently wrote a couple that we're kind of working on. About 3 months ago, we were really going to get them done fast, and then we haven't done anything with them since.
I think we've kind of been on a little archaeological, I'm saying that word wrong.
Archaeological?
Yeah, kind of
Look at the
trip.
brain on
It'll
Tony.
dive into the past.
Because I think it was when Phil passed away, like Tony and I were kind of depressed, like we weren't working on anything new.
Well, I wouldn't even go to say we were. I feel like we still.
But then we started. But I'm saying when we started finding stuff. Like I found some ideas that I sent Phil. You found some ideas, and I think part of us we wanted to work on something that Phil kind of heard or was doing. So I think we've got a lot of things that we're trying to put together right now.
Which are ironically mostly about Phil.
Right.
The last song that we were working on before Phil passed away was one that Andy had started, and then I kind of took because I didn't feel he was going to finish it, which ironically is exactly what happened with Andy's most hated Pudge song, Need a Lover. Kind of went down the same path. But I took it and I did this little demo on GarageBand. I sent it to Andy, Sam, and Phil. The only reply I got from anybody was Phil sent back, "Wow, I've been listening to a lot of Talking Heads lately," or something like that. And then I instantly scrapped it, never worked on it again. It did sound kind of Talking Headish, but yeah. Thanks for the question, DJ Bear, and thanks for playing Pudge too. Appreciate it.
We had one last question, and then we're going to have to end the show because we're up against the hour. I know you guys have pressing business to attend to today. The question comes from Joel Ziegler, host
He's
of
the man.
High Anxiety Radio, 2 hours of great in-your-face punk
Joey
music
Z.
every Wednesday night. And you can find all Joel's shows on demand on our Code Zero Radio app. Joel's question, what are some of your favorite bands that you've played with?
Turtlehead.
Turtlehead.
I mean, there are a lot of good bands.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. It's
You talk about some of the most memorable shows. Like, I love playing with LOTT. I mean, you know something bad's gonna happen, and it's kind of you got that scary feeling because you know something bad is going to happen. You don't know what it is.
Danger.
But, yeah, danger. And that's what I think is missing in local music in general. So that's what I like about them so much. But it's also kind of horrifying. But I really like and LOTT is different, and I like him. I've liked Turtlehead. I mean, there's been a lot of bands in the past that, like Mr. Dunbar. I mean, Drone, Mad Alice Lane, Surface to Air. You know, like it's just
as fun to play with a band that has a good show as it is to have a good show.
Right.
You know,
ultimately, I like the bands that are just easy to get along with and fun too. I mean, it's hard to just. For me, I get, it's like I think of a lot of the nostalgia stuff with bands from 25 years ago, but there's been a lot of good. How about you, Andy?
Well, just like you, I mean, I think my favorite bands we played with are the ones that ended up being our friends. We were already friends with the guys in Turtlehead, but one of my favorites we played with. Currently, like, I mean, The Independent Variable, I like those guys a lot. We played with them. Wouldn't have met them if we weren't doing the show thing. Sons of Kong.
Oh yeah, Kong.
Leading the Blind. I mean,
Yeah,
there's just so
Kong.
many. I could sit here, Black Belt, Yellow Belly. I could go on and on. There's so many bands from the Fox Cities who, like, I think it's the people, it's the music, it's like everything. It's just a community. It's a music community.
Well, I always, I like playing with the bands that don't have the attitude or the ego, which again, most local musicians have ego. I mean, we do too, but
Right.
I mean, some are just more than others. Like, oh, you don't,
But yeah, so thank you, Joel, for the question. I know this was kind of a sloppy interview, but that's kind of what we wanted, right? Just riffing. Again, want to thank everybody that supported us over the years. There's been so many people that have done so much for us, and we appreciate it.
So as soon as this show's over, the cameras are off.
You're gonna pay us our money, right?
No, I'm gonna show you
$30.
what's really coming out of my finger gun.
Tony's finger gun shoots.
All right.
The finger gun. I mean, that's gonna probably live on for a while.
Yeah, that's a good.
Tony, maybe that's a good song idea for your next
Finger
song.
gun?
The finger gun.
Sounds like something.
A Kiss song.
I mean, there's probably stories that there's probably stories you could get out of that finger gun thing.
Well, anyway, I guess I also like to say hi to Kelly, sister Kelly, her parents. Hello to Phil's parents, mom, siblings, and hi to Sam, if he's listening and watching in North Dakota. He's in North Dakota.
Really?
He's fishing, ice fishing.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
We
Thank
see
you.
the Pudge sign quick? I mean, it's behind you.
Oh,
Here's our original sign. They used to hang behind us when we'd rock those.
only good for the people watching the webcast version, but there it is.
Wow.
Still here. Sold.
And it's for sold?
No, I said it's old. Nobody's gonna buy that.
Let's start the bidding at $2.
Sold.
Oh,